So I'm making this video to just share about now that I moved back and I'm back in Oregon, and share my time in the hospital and what my transplant was like. Um, Basically, when I was in the hospital, I got admitted on the 15th of April, and I'd already done a transplant before, so I thought I knew what to expect as far as all of this goes. So I get in. You do a week of treatment still. So I'd already done some type of treatment leading up to this. I'd already been doing chemo treatments since August, and then you do 7 days worth of um, chemo and radiation. So I did like 3 days, I think, of just straight full body chemo. I don't remember exactly what the drugs were called. And then I did another couple days of full body radiation, which I had never done before. And then was put in, I think you rest a couple days and you have to wait a couple days until you actually do the transplant. And then the day before, they collected my dad's cells from him. He had been giving himself shots to stimulate his cells into his bloodstream, and so that they were able to get to a high enough level to secrete out of his bones and into his blood. And they were able to collect that. They collected those cells, gave them back to me after they killed all of my cells in my body. Once my cells were at the right level, which was basically they couldn't detect cells in my body, then they gave me my dad's cells through like basically a blood infusion. And I remember that day I woke up. It was just a normal day. You get the blood infusion. It takes like 30 minutes, not even an hour. And then I was just tired the rest of the day. They give you medications, so you're on some type of medication to make sure you don't flare up. And then I rested the whole day. I had no cells in my body. So leading up to that, everything went well. I handled the radiation and the chemo very well, as I have. Anybody that knows me has like seen me like while I'm on chemo and other various treatments. So got through that, and then I got out. I was in a. It was tough because I didn't have a lot of energy, so I was just sleeping a lot, just like hanging out. The only person that was allowed to come visit me this whole time is my mom. So my mom just comes and visits me every single day, and like does my laundry, brings me clothes, bring me food. But then after I get the transplant, I can only eat certain food from the hospital. So now I'm on this crazy diet. I don't know if you've ever had hospital food, but it's not what I'm used to. And so I'm eating hospital food, like the same hospital food over and over again, and I'm just getting so frustrated. I was in a really, really like tough place mentally, and I just kept replaying that same like negative narrative over and over again in my head. I was in a really dark spot. It was really tough for me to be positive. I was in the hospital. I just like my cells were coming back, and I was progressing. Actually, I'm probably progressing maybe faster than some people have, and probably not as fast as others. But I'm still progressing. I'm healthy, and all my cells came back normal, and there wasn't any crazy like life-threatening side effects. So like I was lucky. But during the time, I didn't see it like that, and I was pretty frustrated, and I couldn't focus really. My mind was really cloudy. I was on all these medications. I I was on up to like 6 IVs at a time, like going into my pick line and going into my port. And so, all the combination with all the medicine and the combination of, like, I couldn't see any of my friends or family. I couldn't see my dad or my sister or anybody like that. It was really weighing on me in comparison to the first time I got a bone marrow transplant. I was able to hang out with my family and my friends. We all kicked it. I mean, I was in the hospital this time. Just I played a video game, Assassin's Creed, and I beat the whole game. And then I just didn't play video games after that. I just couldn't. I couldn't. I was just over. I was trapped. I felt trapped in the hospital. And I'm sitting there. And I finally, my cells are good, but um, I'm getting fevers every night. I keep getting fevers, and this, if I like leave with a fever, they didn't know why I was getting fevers, um, but they wouldn't let me leave the hospital while I kept getting a fever every night. So I would literally wake up. This is probably one of the most frustrating parts, like one of the most frustrating things in my life. I would wake up, get my temperature taken, like maybe I had a fever, maybe I didn't. Usually I did, like when I woke up, usually I had one. And I'd be like, oh my God. And I would get so frustrated, and I was just stuck on the same floor. I was walking like a mile or something a day, just walking laps. And it was 11 laps equals a mile around the floor. So I would just put my headphones on and just be angry and just like walk for as long as I could, as long as my body would let me. And that really helped me. My music helped me. Of course, everybody. I mean, a lot of people, love their music, and that really, helped me get through. Helped me feel good. I was just trying to do little things to feel good. So walking helped too. It helped, even though I was angry, it still helped. Um, it helped me be less angry. It helped me like just channel my anger, just kind of like focus and calm down. And it was nice to be able to walk, because there was days when I couldn't. There was days when I first got out of the hospital. Finally, they started giving me steroids to basically mask the fevers. Um, and so I was able to leave the hospital on the steroids, and like they gave me a good amount, so they wanted to taper me down. I'm 100 days out. I still haven't tapered all the way off of the steroids, and so the steroids enabled me to be able to get out of the hospital, which was amazing. I was so happy. I was so grateful. Got out of the hospital. And then as I started tapering off of the steroids, my energy level was not there. Basically, my body wasn't replenishing like natural levels of what it needed to have energy to do things. And so I was really like frustrated. There was days when I couldn't get out of bed. I couldn't roll and stand up out of bed. I was just like so tired. I would be having my mom feed me food, and like she would kind of have to force me to eat certain meals sometimes, and like, man, like taking my pills twice a day. It was just I was like a vegetable. I don't know, what I would do without my mom. So um, that's amazing. Um, and yeah, I was out of the hospital for like almost 2 weeks, and I wasn't really doing anything. I was just hanging out, sleeping, trying to eat, but I was on a restricted diet. I couldn't eat fruits and vegetables. I couldn't eat like high fat foods. Um, so I was on a really strict like GVHD diet. Um, and what GVHD stands for is graft versus host disease. And so um, I had I'd been out of the hospital for about 2 weeks, and then I had to go to the emergency room because my fever started coming back as I started tapering off of the steroids. So I started getting fevers again, went back into the hospital, um, admitted myself into the emergency room, and they're running all kinds of tests. They're running like head tests. They're just trying to figure out why I have a fever, and nothing is really coming up because and what they and that's when they ended up diagnosing me to have a certain stage of GVHD. And so once that was found, basically they kind of upped my steroid level again, sent me on my way. But before that, I was in the hospital for 2 weeks. So like they put me on a very restricted diet. They took my diet away. I couldn't eat anything. They were feeding me through an IV for like a couple of days, and then they worked me up to a liquid diet where I could drink water and like have like I think I could have chicken broth to eat, but it was all liquid, and then I could have bread and cereal. I think after that it was so I they basically wanted to make sure that my like GI tract was healthy, and they broke it down to nothing, and then I've still been building it up, even like I said, now at day 100, I've still been I'm still on a I haven't been eating normal. I've been eating the same basic meals, sticking to this diet to make sure it doesn't do anything to my body that I don't want it to do, because I don't have time for that. And so I'm in there for 2 weeks. They're doing all these tests. They say I have GVHD. I'm on steroids still, and then they let me out. But this time I have a little bit more energy. I'm able to help out around the house. Like I can drive. I can like grab the groceries for my mom. I can make meals. Like I have way more energy now. And yeah, I'm just so grateful for that. And that was the month and a half, 2 months that I was just in the hospital rocking with my mom. We were playing games like Connect Four. We played this Rubik's Race game, and we were just passing time. It was the NBA Finals. I watched the NBA Finals in the hospital. We're just, just kicking it. I'm really blessed that I had time to spend with my mom. You know, I usually live in Las Vegas, so this was really good for me. So there's blessings in this hard part, but I've gotten better and stronger. I've gotten through it now, and I'm just working on rebuilding. Now the rebuilding is the hard part and it's the long part. There'll be a couple more videos talking about just like what I'm going through while I'm getting healthy again, and how I'm dealing with it. So stay tuned.